Hello everyone, we are going to do a quick demonstration of the new AI in the SharePoint capabilities. We are specifically going to see the metadata extraction using autofill columns, and then we are also going to look at this new skills capability within AI in SharePoint. The scenario here is procure to pay. One of the use cases is to make sure the invoices are in compliance with the purchase orders. So what you're seeing here on the screen, this is a document library with invoices. And if I open the invoice, you will notice this is a typical invoice with the invoice number, invoice date, uh, and then we also have the items, and then there is a total amount. We have around 13 invoices in this document library. And for each of this invoice, we want to make sure it is compliant with the respective purchase order. And the purchase order number is also within the invoice document. Similarly, we have a purchase order document library. You'll notice this is the purchase order document library. And if you open it, you will notice a typical purchase order details. You will notice there is a purchase order ID here, PO number on the top right. You also have the total amount for the purchase order. So we are going to keep this simple. We are just going to align the invoice with the purchase order by looking at the purchase order number and then comparing the invoice total to the purchase order total. If the invoice total is less or equal to the purchase order total, then the invoice is compliant. Otherwise, it is non-compliant. Typically, this validation reconciliation is done. You could use some kind of Power Automate flow, or you can write a custom code. But in this scenario, we are going to use AI in SharePoint capabilities. All right, so we go back to our invoice. You will notice we have a bunch of invoices, but we do not have metadata. We do not have invoice number, total amount, uh, invoice date, none of those metadata columns. So the first order of business is to extract the metadata, and we are going to do that using the new AI in SharePoint capabilities. You'll notice there is an icon here. It's a button. It's called floating action button. You will see it if you have Copilot license. This capability is in public preview as of today. Okay, so we are going to extract the metadata, and it's as simple as writing this prompt where we are saying extract columns, total amount, purchase order number, invoice date, and invoice number. Now, you do not have to do this for the reconciliation, but having the metadata will speed up the process, and we will see how it works when we use the skills. So here you go. AI in SharePoint has extracted the metadata from each of these invoices. We also have 4 columns. If you need, you can delete any of these columns or add new columns. The extraction is done using a prompt. Uh, Behind the scene, we are using large language models to read each of the files and extract and then save it as a column. All right, so that is it. We are not going to press the keep all button. I'm going to navigate to a different library where we have all this information already extracted, but I wanted to show you how easy it is to extract information. Now, anytime you upload a new invoice, the metadata will all automatically get extracted. All right, so this is the invoice reconciliation library for this demonstration. You will notice it already has the total amount, purchase order number, invoice date, and invoice number already extracted for each of the invoices. I already also have 2 additional columns here, reconciliation status and reconciliation details. So the whole idea here is when we perform the reconciliation process, and the skills that will do the reconciliation will update the status as either compliant or non-compliant. And then along with that, there will be details that describes why that status was assigned. All right. For this, we are going to use the new skills capability in AI in SharePoint. So the skill is nothing but a markdown file. You save it within agent assets library within your SharePoint site. And here you will notice I have several skills. One of the skill here is the PO reconciliation skill, right? And you will click here and then you will notice there is a skill.md file. This is a markdown file. You can create this file from a Visual Studio Code or a Notepad. Uh, it is it is a standard markdown file. Now I'll do a separate video where I'll show how easy it is to even create this markdown files. So I have not written any of this. I just described what I need, and AI created this markdown file for me, and I could always go ahead and edit it. So do not get intimidated by looking at this file. It's very easy to create, and I promise you I'll show you how I've done this in the next video. All right, so we have our skill now. We have our invoice library here with all the invoices. We have our purchase order, and now we'll do the reconciliation. So because this is in public preview, what we have to do here is we have to load the skill. We have multiple skills, so when this is released we won't have to do that, but right now we'll load the skill. We'll say load skill PO reconciliation. And after the skill is loaded, it is loading the skill now. Now we'll start the reconciliation process. We are going to select few of the invoices, and we're going to select some of the invoices from the bottom here. You can select all the invoices if you need to. Once we have this invoices selected, we can go here and we can write a prompt that says reconcile selected invoices. Now, here it is, the process is now complete. Now, based on the processing, we have 3 invoices that are compliant, and we have another 3 invoices that are non-compliant. Now, if you scroll to your right, you will notice we also have details as to why each of one of them are either compliant or non-compliant. So this one is telling us that the invoice total is exceeding the purchase order total by $398.91. And then if you go scroll all the way to the top, you will notice the 3 of these are compliant because the invoice total is under the purchase order total. So here it is. As you have seen, this is something that would have taken days or weeks to create the process and test it out. And now we have automated this within few minutes. So hopefully this was useful. It gave you some idea how you can use the new AI in SharePoint capabilities to automate your business process. Thank you.